We're going to shift our questions now to Indigenous learning, because that's a key part of this program.
Okay, guys.
Right. So what have you learned about Indigenous history, culture, and ways of knowing? James?
This kind of isn't really like with what we learned, but it's kind of like I like the idea of that because like it needs to be known. Like it's kind of forgotten history almost, and I think it's a good idea that it's actually taught, and so it's not like a very like blank unknown for a lot of people.
So what in particular do you think is important that you've learned?
Residential schools and that kind of stuff.
And what about residential schools in particular?
I'm not really sure. Like,
So, like, do you think that it's okay to just hide something like that that's happened?
no. Like, for people to just think like, oh yeah, like, nothing really happened, right? Like, it was all okay that everybody just got along. But, like, it was actually, like, a whole bunch of just, like, torture. I think that needs to be said. Like, people, like, at the church don't want to say anything about it because it was, like, the priests and the nuns that did all that stuff, so they don't want to, like, associate with that. But it needs to be, like, said.
James, you smart.
Marshall, what do you think? What have you learned about Indigenous history, culture, and ways of knowing as a result of this program?
As a result, well, I learned a lot about plants.
Okay.
Okay, like what?
I'm a plant expert now, boys.
So, what kind of plants?
I learned about like sweetling and like cheese and like culture.
What about our guest speaker, Pat? Do you guys remember Pat?
Yeah, that was fun.
What did Pat do?
Birchbark biting.
Okay. So you can create art using many forms of media, not just paper and pencils and paint. You can use natural resources like birch bark.
When we were in PE, my brother actually found a birch tree and like he did it like birch bark
What the hell was
with
that?
her at Tuckanuit.
Yeah.
Like he peeled up birch bark and he did it. It's pretty cool.
And you found a tree in PEI and was trying to do that?
Yeah, there's lots of birch trees.
Oh, but it
That's
cut down my
awesome.
maple tree in my backyard to make my dad a bad out of it. Wait, I can take one of those.
No.
What about, have you guys talked much about Indigenous ways of knowing?
We have.
You have?
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
We had a similar discussion in this very spot about Indigenous ways of knowing. Do you guys remember that talk?
Like storytelling and stuff.
The storytelling, yeah.
How they like don't talk like
Okay, guys.
communication, they tell stories to teach people things.
Okay, James.
Indigenous learning, like, they would teach by doing and teach by, like, showing
And telling stories.
people. Ethan, shut up. They would, like, well, like, with hunting, let's say, they would teach hunting by going and teaching their kids how to shoot a deer, let's say. Like, how to get a deer.
Okay, Seth, you want to sit up? Baptiste, you want to sit up, please?
So James, that also leads into another Indigenous way of knowing, which is learning on the land, right? Have you guys, so you guys have done a bit of learning on the land, yeah? And what do you notice about when you go outside to learn?
We're a lot calmer. We have lots of
You're a lot calmer and
We have lots more fun than just sitting inside.
Sure, you could say that.
So, guys, something I've learned, like I've told you guys I'm doing my master's degree right now. Hey, guys. Shh. And my master's degree focuses on outdoor education. And some of the stuff with outdoor education, what I've learned is that when students are in a school, there's certain norms and expectations that students follow by. And as soon as they walk in the building, those are just kind of ingrained in their brains. Like, we sit behind a desk, we listen to our teacher talk. This is how things are, and there's certain rules and routines.
The kids that don't.
And then what I've learned is when you take people outside, it's more of a neutral space, and those rules aren't associated with the outdoors, so that when we do go outside, people feel happier, people are more willing to do the stuff, people feel more open to share ideas, and people just have more fun. Because those, it's like more of a neutral space. Okay, Ethan?
And that's like more of a learning experience for everyone.
Yeah.
It's a way of leveling the playing field and taking away like all of those social boundaries that people kind of get shuffled into or feel like pigeonholed. You can kind of let go of those expectations you have of yourself and of each other. Brooke, you wrote a few nice things about learning outside. Can you share those?
Well, like Heather said, we are a lot more calmer. I noticed that we are a little bit more positive when we're outside. Because when we are in the class, we just all make a moment.
So it elevates your mood. Going outside elevates your
And
mood.
it's like healthy too.
Mhm.
Like it's healthy to be outside. Like, I don't know.
Well, that makes me think of something that I read in my program that I'm doing is
Hey, Seth? James?
if you are feeling positive and good about yourself, you're more likely to learn. So if you're in the classroom and you're feeling crappy and it's a negative space, a negative environment,
You
you're
shut
not really
down.
going to learn anything.
Residential
But if-
schools.
Right? Yeah, but by going outside and participating in these indigenous ways of knowing, outside learning on the land, you're in a more positive headspace and you're more open and able to take in the learning that is coming your way.
It's like one thing I've noticed, it's like you guys have all become quite close over the semester, but there are times where you guys have your disagreements and don't get along.
Like one a day.
Now, I notice that happens more when you're inside rather than outside. When you're outside, you guys are more willing to cooperate and work with each other than I would say compared to the indoors on
like,
certain things.
Inside, we're all cooped up and like we're all getting like all antsy and everything, like just fighting with each other. Then like, but when we're outside, we feel more free and like
Yeah.
do stuff.
It's like, for example, on the hike we did last week, I saw a lot of people were more willing to help each other out. Like when we're going up like steep spots, going down and up, than say like if I asked you to help someone in the classroom, you might not see that so much. But when we're outside, people are just like more willing to help each other out and look out for each other.
I realized like
It's because we don't want to have to deal with them in pain.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
they'll just complain the entire time and get annoying.
Marshall.
I'm not sure if that's really the reason.
no, I don't think that's the
I
reason.
don't think that's really the reason.
I realized like
It is the reason to me.
the government wants all the kids to like learn this is the certain thing that you want to like this is the things that they want all the kids, like all the younger generations to learn.
Yeah.
Right? But the people that don't want to sit behind a desk and that like skip those classes, let's say, they're the ones that actually like want to do something. They're like, yeah, I don't want to go to history class because I'm never gonna actually have to know that with what I'm wanting to do. Like, I'm not wanting to go and like, I won't need to know like what the
Japanese did,
yeah.
or the Romans did.
Well, it's not necessarily say that you don't want to learn history. It could just be the way you're being taught history. Like if you had a way that you, so like, remember how we've talked before about like different ways of learning and how everyone has their preferred methods for learning. So for you guys, like what are your preferred ways of learning? Heather?
I'm like
Outside,
a hands-on learner,
hands-on.
and I'd rather be outside than just sitting at a desk writing stuff down.
Yeah.
I actually want to like go outside and build stuff and do stuff.
Mhm. Okay, so Marshall, you
Marshall likes reading.
you absorb information better through reading. Okay. Aiden?
I don't know if it counts, but like when it comes to like for an example science, I'd rather watch Bill Nye tell me what to do than like read a book.
Yeah. So certain people have a way of presenting information to make it easier to learn. So for example, Bill Nye, the science guy.
Ethan?
I find it easier when Mr. Baptiste is my teacher because you get him to help you with something and you get him to show you how to do it, but then he just keeps going.
So sometimes they get carried away.
Sometimes
And
you
he
get
just
carried away.
completes it for you, and you're like, okay. He's
Okay, thanks.
I remember having a teacher
Brooke?
one time.
Sorry, Brooke's got her hand up.
So some people aren't a really big fan of writing, Heather. But I love writing. Like I could write for hours, really, and then then like next day I could just say word for word like on the paper without looking at it. So I learned better with writing, but also hands-on, I guess.
A little bit of both. Tristan,
YouTube.
you
So-
like YouTube videos?
So, for example, myself becoming a shop teacher, I got so many ideas from YouTube tutorials, and I learned many new things from watching YouTube videos. Seth?
I learned more history on YouTube than in Mr. Bass's class.
Yeah. But now with Mr. Basso's class, if you get to a senior level, one of the courses he teaches is history through film. So if you like watching movies and through history, that's probably a course you'd like to take.
Nope, short clips on.
Oh, well, these are a bit longer than short
See,
clips.
and like I asked Mr. Basso what Hitler did, and he, like I asked him how Hitler like decided what he wanted to do. He had no clue.
Well, because it's hard, because if you weren't there,
Well, like you could go on YouTube and like watch a whole like hour and a half long documentary on what Hitler did from World War I to World War II.
Yeah.
Like he went to prison like 3 times.
It's an interesting character. He'd be a good character study.
He lied. He lied about a bunch of stuff too. Like there's this one where he apparently killed a British soldier, but really another guy did. He got
the blame
yeah.
Hmm.
He got like
set up.
no. He got a medal for it.
Oh,
but
hmm.
somebody else like didn't, and the person who actually killed the British soldier didn't get a medal.
That happens a lot though.
He got the Black Cross.
Oh, hi, Brooke.
Oh, so Seth, you are right though, but it's just easier. So let's just say you wanted to learn about, Hitler. I guess I don't really think of anything else. It's like easier to know history when somebody was there. Like, for instance, my great grandma, she is Hungarian, and they were sneaking out of a concentration camp, and one of the German soldiers caught them, but my grandma was so pregnant that they just let her go. Like she was about to pop early. So it's just easier to know history when you have the history in your family.
Yeah, if you can have personal ties to things. So guys, no matter what you're learning, doesn't matter what subject, if you can relate to it in some way, shape, or form, you're more likely to learn that information. Hey, Tyler, what is your preferred method of learning?
Hands-on, writing, reading.
I'd rather do hands-on. Okay. Writing and reading can burn itself.
I burned my math textbook exam
I got
or
home
like
and
the
dipped it in a can of gas.
the day I got told exams were, I burned
You're
burned
done.
my math textbook.
I generally start burning my homework before exams.
Taylor and I actually was burning all of our schoolwork, and then I accidentally burned a social textbook. So I kind of have to go through what's in my binder.
Do you have to pay for it?
Yeah, I had to pay for
$150 textbook?
yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we have to pay for textbooks? That doesn't make sense.
Well, no, like I told you,
School has to pay for
you have to pay the deposit because the school orders new textbooks every now and then. And if you...
Order new ones. Why do we have to use the old ones where there's rips on the front page and they're missing pages and
You know what?